Memorial Day weekend brought up a lot of discussion about Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Black Wall Street.
100 years later.
100 years later. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you can, go ahead and jump that in right quick. But so
shameless plug.
So if you've been paying attention, especially the last couple of days or so, they've been talking more and more about the Black Wall Street and the really the payment that's owed to those people, the justice that they deserve. And it's brought a lot of people that's talking about, why haven't there been more of them, and there has. But I am glad that they finally talking about the fact that, or at least again talking about it, that Memorial Day was started by Negroes, particularly Black soldiers who wanted to do right by their fallen men,
because that's our culture.
So the people that's example number 1,000 of the people who are supposed to be savages bringing civility to this society.
And then what did white people do? Take it over and made it seem like they the one that invented it, like they do with everything else.
Yeah. But along with that happening, we all, with them bringing it out, the Memorial Day stuff and the Black Wall Street, they also was able to write articles talking about how it was covered up for a long time. I didn't learn about Black Wall Street. Well, I probably learned about it a lot earlier than some people in the internet age. I got the privilege of that. But I learned about Black Wall Street when I was like 15, 16 years old. And like anybody, when you find out something that horrific, the anger in you comes out. And the best way that I could express my anger was to paste that story on every forum, every comment section I could find. But if you look at this article, they went down the line to explain how it was covered up. Black Wall Street was shattered 100 years ago. How the Tulsa Race Massacre was covered up and unearthed. Now, this is written by an Asian woman. Tell our story.
She got her nerve.
Tell our story. A century ago this week, the wealthiest U.S. Black community was burned to the ground. At the turn of the 20th century, the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, became one of the first communities in the country thriving with Black entrepreneurial businesses. The prosperous town, founded by many descendants of slaves, earned a reputation as Black Wall Street of America and became a harbor for African Americans in a highly segregated city under Jim Crow laws. On May 31st, 1921, a white mob turned Greenwood upside down in one of the most racial massacres in U.S. history. In a matter of hours, 35 square blocks of a vibrant Black community would turn into smoldering ashes. Countless Black people were killed, estimated range from 55 to more than 300, and 1,000 homes and businesses were looted. Now, I find it strange how the number of people who died is always questionable when this story comes out.
The clock was ticking, and Greenwood was on borrowed time. May 30th, 1921, Memorial Day weekend. Some say 30 people died that day. Others say it's more like 3,000. But the official death toll is 37, 25 Black and 12 white.
There's a possibility of mass graves that's being investigated even as we speak. We're still looking into that possibility of mass graves.
There have been eyewitness accounts of bodies being cremated inside this old mill or tossed into the Arkansas River. Tulsa is perhaps home to America's largest crime scene. Even the mayor here says they have an ongoing murder investigation, but to date, no one has been held accountable.
The official story is 37. I think 25 Black people. It makes no sense. There's no way you burn down that many businesses and homes and only 30 people die. 25 Black people die in a situation. So you see here, they said it ranged from 55 to 300, even though it's probably closer
to 1,000,
to a couple thousand. But yeah, for the longest time, the massacre received scant mentions in newspapers, textbooks, and civil and governmental conversations. It wasn't until 2000 that the slaughter was included in the Oklahoma public schools curriculum, and it did not enter American history textbooks until recent years. The 1921 Tulsa Race Riot Commission was formed to investigate in 1997 and officially released a report in 2001. The massacre was actively covered up in the white community in Tulsa for nearly a half a century. The Scott Ellsworth, a professor of Afro-American and African Studies in the University of Michigan, and author of the groundbreaking about the Tulsa Massacre, When I started my research in the 1970s, I discovered that official National Guard reports and other documents were all missing. That's Tulsa's two daily white newspapers. They went out their way for decades to not mention the massacre. Researchers who would try to work on this as late as early 1970s had their lives threatened and had their careers threatened. Now, here's some newspapers from that time of them literally covering up what happened. If you see here in these newspapers, it only mentions the white people who died.
That's what they do.
It doesn't mention obviously, it reminds me a lot, and I hate to compare our plight with someone else, but the Israel-Palestinian situation. They only talk about how many Israelis died in their newspaper. They don't really care about the Palestinians. But luckily, now they can't lie as much. They still lie. But if you go down through this article, they went through how it was covered up and all the things that that happened. Now, they also talk about for black Tulsans. Is that how you say that? Tulsans?
Yes.
The massacre resulted in a decline in home ownership, occupational status, and educational attainment, according to the recent study through the 1940s led by Howard University, Alex Albright. Today, there are only a few black businesses on a single remaining block in the Greenwood district, once held as Black Wall Street. Now, you see this right here? That led to some disagreement with some people. That was yesterday or a couple days ago now. If you paid attention, there was a commemoration event that was supposed to happen that was canceled because allegedly the survivors' reparations, or should I say, they want more money or want more than what was offered.
And they absolutely deserve more than what was offered to them.
Did you know how much they were offered?
They were offered $10,000.
That's it?
$100,000. Sorry.
$100,000?
They were offered $100,000, and I think they were offered $2 million for like some type of gift fund or reparation something. It says it in the article though.
Organizers who called off the headline commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre said Friday the event was canceled after an agreement couldn't be reached over monetary payments to 3 survivors of the deadly attack by a white mob, highlighting broader debates over reparations for racial injustice. Attorney Demario Solomon Simmons told the Associated Press that they submitted a list of requests to the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre Commission in order to have the survivors attend the Remember and Rise event Monday on ONEOX Field in Tulsa. One Oklahoma, I guess. The commission had enlisted Grammy Award winning singer and songwriter John Legend to headline the event, and voting rights activist Stacey Abrams was to deliver the keynote address. I think Joe Biden was supposed to be there too.
Yeah, he was supposed to be there.
And he turned his ass around. What's her name?
Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams found her somewhere else to be. Now, they couldn't sit here and fight with these people to get reparations, but they ran their ass to that George Floyd.
Yeah. Oh, the $2 million was seed money for a reparation fund.
So a reparations fund.
Yeah, they're giving them 100,000, and they're gonna take $2 million and give it to a seed for reparation fund. And the people were just like, we don't trust y'all.
What the hell is a reparations fund?
I don't know.
You gonna fund the research for it again?
How much fucking research we gotta have?
How much research you gotta do to give it up? But
they tear this shit up before they give us reparations.
Yeah, Stacey Abrams, she couldn't go to the to help these people organize on this situation for reparations, but they went to that concert for George Floyd, make some more money off that dead black man. But they'll tell you they're trying to get awareness. We got enough awareness at this point. So, we see this right here, as you said. We raised the money and we were excited. The survivors were going to accept these gifts. Now notice, they didn't call it reparations. They called it gifts.
Always speaking in code when it come to us.
Matthew said Friday, unfortunately on Sunday, they reached out and increased the amount of the 100,000 per survivor gift to 1 million. And instead of 2 million, they asked for 50 million. 50 million. They put it twice. It's unbelievable. These niggas actually expect to get something that they actually worth?
Yeah.
You expect what your actual worth and seed money. We could not respond to those demands. Now, keep in mind, he kept referencing this as a gift because he if he references as reparations,
ADOS.
it gets way bigger because they don't want the headline to be Tulsa Massacre survivors get reparations, because now you're gonna have people popping up all over the place. Oh,
You got to go. You got to go to all those other towns.
yeah, all these Oklahoma towns. Hey, what's up? But
the one in Florida, they had that movie about them Rosewood. They did receive reparations,
allegedly. But Tulsa wasn't the only Oklahoma city that was black owned. If you go through the list, they had up to, at least I found, 13.
Ooh, where does that look like that's at?
Now, if you look at this right here,
what side of Oklahoma are
a lot of these cities, these black owned cities, are located in the Native American territory now, which they won half of it. We keep bringing that up because that should be a bigger story. A lot of these cities are located in the Native American territory now.
But some people say, why would it be a big story? This is Native American. This is their land. They're supposed to get their land back.
Shit. Look, man, I said before, a lot of those people in that area, they could ask for reparations from those natives. There's a lot of slave trading that went on.
Natives.
But yeah, Tulsa wasn't the only place there. And then getting past just Oklahoma, you go to North Carolina, our home state, you had Durham, which was black owned. It was called Black Wall Street as well. It was funded by allegedly was funded by some a white wealthy family, but it was ran by all black people. They allegedly had like a business partnership with them. But
yeah, they were the ones who were Republicans back then.
Well, most black people were Republicans in the late 1800s.
Switched it.
Yeah, up until the mid 1900s.
It's a shame. Durham used to be Black Wall Street, and now it's one of the most driven crime cities.
Yeah,
in North Carolina.
Up even down in Florida, they got a couple cities. The main one being Eatonville, Florida. They were a black owned. They were actually, if I'm not mistaken, the first incorporated African American community. So, but yeah, man, this all goes back to what the scriptures say. Wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? And that's why a lot of stuff happened to our people. Not only is it some of the things we do to ourselves, but there's a lot of envy towards our people, because people know who we are, but they won't tell you. You got to do the research for yourself. But they canceled the whole event because they ain't want to give no reparations. And
it's like, forget $1 million.
Yeah, they said 50 million. 50 million, like ain't no way in hell we would giving you two.
We don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, then they turn around and give entire half a damn state to somebody else. But yeah, man, that's that on that. Now we're gonna see if this turns into a court battle. Are those Tulsa survivors gonna go to hey, we want reparations?
They just had that little. They thought that little sweet 107-year-old lady reading off that paper. It was my birthday, baby, and she's like $100,000. Fuck you, nigga.
I want $1 million.
A fucking million.
I wonder if somebody did get in their ear. You think their grandkids, somebody? Think their grandkids or somebody got in their ear and say no, $1 million? Or you think it was just them?
So I think it was them.
They're like, well, we had my granddaddy. He never got his stove back because
he's the oldest surviving person from Tulsa.
Yeah,
she's 107 years old.
7 years old when that happened.
She been living with these wicked bastards.
I can't imagine how she feel about them. She probably,
and
she probably, like people like to call us racist. She probably really racist.
They done brought somebody home and she done turned their nose up. Said, don't bring that bitch over here no more.
She bring her over here no more. Well, yeah, man, that's that on that. Hopefully they get their money. We'll see how far this goes. Will they push this to court? Will this become an actual thing? Get them reparations, or are they gonna push it to the side and move on with their life? But anyway, man, all praise to the Most High and peace.